Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day. Heidi, do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Let's do the whole darn weekend. Saturday, the 16th of May, National Barbecue Day. Ooh, I love that. National Do Something Good for Your Neighbor Day. You hear that, Curtis? It's also... I'm just kidding. My neighbors are awesome.
He does good stuff for us all the time.
He absolutely does. National Love a Tree Day, National Mimosa Day, National Piercing Day, Sea Monkey Day, Biographers Day, Jacques St. Jacques Day. I don't know what that is.
Really? I was wondering when that was going to happen.
Did you see they have a whole section of the cards out right now? Also, Armed Forces Day and Learn to Swim Day. 17th of May, National Pack Rat Day, Cherry Cobbler Day, Graduation Tassel Day, Walnut Day, National Idaho Day, and Take Your Parents to the Playground Day.
Take your parents to the playground.
Yeah, all those things happening. And we have two authors joining us today. The co-authors of Fire in Paradise, an American Tragedy. It's about the fires that happened in Paradise, California. And these two were working with a newspaper that were covering the story, and they put a book out. We're going to chat all about it in a bit. Many people have dabbled in the stock market for their very first time ever this year. If you're new to the market, but you don't want to learn things the hard way and the expensive way, I encourage you to subscribe to this free newsletter. You can get the inside track with Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com. Subscribe for free. If you change your mind, just unsubscribe. Sign up for free right now at marketbeatminute.com. That's marketbeatminute.com. Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com. A new study aims to inject men with estrogen to help them fight the coronavirus. What?
What?
Yeah, there's a new study where they say, okay, here's what we're going to try. We're going to take men, we're going to pump them full of estrogen and see if that helps them fight coronavirus. So I'm not really sure why that is. I know I have read that men are more susceptible to issues with coronavirus, so maybe that's what they're thinking. I have no idea. I'm just very confused. Huh. So stay away from me with that estrogen. I don't need any. I already cried sad movies, so I don't think...
Yeah, you cry more than I do.
I know I do. There's nothing wrong with that, I hope. Thanks for listening to Surveys and Studies and Such, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com.
Some credit cards have really high rates or big annual fees. Usually, people sign up for these when it's all they qualify for. If that sounds like you, it may be time to get a better credit card. Over time, your situation changes, and you may qualify for a better credit card. Your current card hopes you don't think about it, but our site shows you many options to see if there's a better credit card for you. Check it out for free at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
This is your Brain on Drugs, brought to you by Time4Rehab.com. A motorist from Florida called Oregon State Police to report he'd been shot at while driving on Interstate 5. But it actually was not a gunshot, it was a tire blowout.
Oh.
And now he faces charges after marijuana was found in his car and about $30,000 in cash. It was all hidden in a package of diapers. Troopers said they received a report shortly before midnight that he'd been shot at. When they got there, they discovered he was under the influence of marijuana. Paranoia led him to believe he had been shot at when it was really just a tire blowout. They found almost $30,000 in cash and a bunch of marijuana. And it says here he was in a little bit of trouble for money laundering and also a DUI for driving under the influence. So there you go. All of that bizarre story is what happens when your brain is on drugs. Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Selena Gomez. I always thought she seemed like a neat lady. Don't you?
Yeah,
I think she just seems a lot of fun. She's going to star in a quarantine cooking show. The untitled 10-episode at-home cooking show will feature the recording artist and actress learning how to cook. I didn't know she was a recording artist. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I guess I did know that, didn't I?
Yeah.
She was learning how to cook with the virtual help of Master Chef. Each episode, I don't know why I didn't think, of course I knew that she was. Yeah. Each episode will air on HBO Max. It will highlight a food-related charity. By the way, HBO Max is a new streaming service similar to like a Netflix, Amazon Prime,
sure.
Another one of those. And it is launching at the end of May. So this will be coming out later this month. Sylvester Stallone said on Instagram that Demolition Man 2, a sequel to the cult classic from 1993, is officially moving forward at Warner Brothers. Details are scarce at the moment, but we do know that Stallone is actively involved in the long-rumored sequel. So there you go. For those of you who like Demolition Man, number 2 on the way. Big Screen, Little Screen brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
We're here to make it better.
If you find that drug or alcohol problems are hitting you too close to home, you can get help. Maybe it's time for rehab. Your insurance may even cover everything. Learn more at timeforrehab.com. Get help for a drug or alcohol problem within 24 hours.
We're here to make it better.
Get more information at timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com.
Now your scoop of the day. It comes your way courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. So new info reveals Netflix subscribers in the United States have been averaging 3+ hours of streaming per day. I think we've done our part.
Not per day. I think we have a few days out of the week where we do that, but most of the time we don't.
We do in the evening. We'll sit down and we'll watch stuff.
Not every evening we do.
Oh, I guess that's right. You didn't watch Tiger King with me.
Yeah, I guess that's you.
And
yeah.
you didn't watch the 20 hours of Making a Murderer.
I did not. I haven't.
And then I found out later I'm friends with somebody that's related to them.
I don't watch
I didn't even know that.
anywhere near what you watch.
For comparison, Netflix users watched an average of just 2 hours of content per day 1 year ago. So about 1 extra hour per day streaming.
Considering
stuff.
as much time as people are home now, that's not a whole lot more.
Yeah, I don't know. A new study out of Spain revealed that more than half dog-owning drivers, 54%, said they drive more carefully when traveling with their pet in the car. Having the dog in the car also has added benefit of reducing your stress. 35% surveyed saying they feel calmer when their dog is in the car. So there you go. If we want everybody to drive more carefully, apparently just have them put the dog in the car. Although I got to tell you, I've seen numerous vehicles recently where dogs are like sitting on the driver's lap, hanging out of the vehicle.
Bad idea.
That's a terrible idea. So I'm like, it looks like that dog is driving the car, but it's just a really, really bad way for that driver to be driving the car. Robert Kraft, owner of the New England Patriots, is one of the most recent additions to Fanatics All-In Challenge. It's an organization that takes donations from prominent figures in sports, music, and entertainment and auctions them off to raise money for a variety of food-centric charities. Kraft has decided to auction off his own personal Super Bowl ring for Super Bowl 51.
Oh, wow.
That is really, really cool. 55% of Americans think that they are smarter than the average American, according to a YouGov survey. A humble 34% of citizens say they are about as smart as everybody else. 4% say, I'm less intelligent than other people. Men, by the way, 24%, are more likely than women, only 15%, to say, I'm much more smarter than everybody. And our final story, in Connecticut, a man by the name of Jason Daddario, he was asked to leave a McDonald's for failing to comply with a statewide order to wear a mask in the business to curb the spread of coronavirus. That's in Connecticut. It's a statewide order. He didn't like being told what to do, and he threw a rock through the window.
Oh, okay. That's the wrong response.
Yeah. After that, an alleged unrelated crime, he stole several pairs of ladies' underwear from a nearby Walmart. What does that have to do with any of the...
Jeepers.
He then tried to flee,
a busy day.
but thought better of it when a police dog met him as he left the store. So, yeah. What a bizarre... a couple of things to do. Mm-hmm. Either one of those on their own, not so smart, but you do the two of those. This guy's definitely not part of that survey that's smarter than the rest of Americans.
No, for sure.
If he said yes, he was wrong. This is today's Scoop of the Day.
Do you pay too much for insurance? Have you looked around? Or are you too chicken? Don't be afraid to look around to see if you can find a better deal at InsuranceChicken.com. We make it super simple for you to see rates from several different companies, to see what they have to offer, all in one place. Peck out great insurance deals at InsuranceChicken.com. Is it time for you to cross the road? See if we can save you money each month at InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. Our guests today are authors of a new book, Fire in Paradise, an American Tragedy. We've got Dani Anguiano and Alastair G. joining us. We'll start with Dani. Let's talk about where the concept for this book came from.
So this sprung out of our reporting for The Guardian where we were. And how we came to the fire is I had recently started working for The Guardian in the San Francisco Bay Area. I moved from Butte County, California, and on November 8th, I went to work and started getting, frantic texts from family and friends who lived in this little town in the Sierra Nevada foothills called Paradise. There was a fire there, and based on what they were telling me, I knew it was going to be very bad. And so I talked to my editor at The Guardian and told him that he should send me because I had a lot of reporting experience in that area, and, I knew it pretty well. So I got sent there, almost immediately and was reporting from Paradise the following day.
So now let's visit with Alastair about how you and Dani came together and decided, hey, we need to write a book about this.
Wildfires are always a big story, as you know. It feels like every year there's national news about some crazy big wildfire that's broken out in the western U.S. And so over the years, as an editor and a reporter, I've just been involved in covering wildfires. It's such a big, crazy story. They're getting worse every year, it seems. And so Dani knew this area really well. She'd grown up there. She'd reported on the Paradise area. And so I just wanted to get working on these fires, which I had learned about from my previous reporting. So we just joined forces and thought, let's report on this fire together. And it turned out to be the worst wildfire in America in 100 years. It's the deadliest wildfire in America in a century.
And this was an absolute tragedy that this happened in Paradise, but somebody's got to tell the story. What was it like being the people to actually tell the story of what happened?
It was a big responsibility, especially when I was there in the very early days. I felt a real responsibility to make sure I was telling, what was happening right, because, I felt a sense of allegiance to this community, but also because it was so shocking. When I drove into the area, the sky was just this really scary orange. It looked almost Martian, and it was covered in this thick, thick smoke that would hang on your clothes and into your car. And people, tens of thousands of people had fled Paradise from this fire, and they all converged on this little town in California, Sacramento Valley. And, they were sleeping outside in tents because they were displaced and had nowhere to go. So there were so many awful things happening, so many shocking things happening, especially considering that California has wildfires every single year. But this was a truly awful one. It went beyond what we knew was possible. And so we did our best to really convey those images to our readers.
How is this book laid out?
I think we wanted to retell the story of the fire based on all of the reporting that we did. We spoke to hundreds of people. We tried to speak to relatives and friends of almost all of the 85 victims of the fire. We tried to get all these stories, not only of tragedy, but also of heroism. There were some incredible first responders, for instance. This one firefighter we met called Joe Kennedy, and while everyone else was, as Dani said, evacuating out of town, clogging the roads, trying to escape, Joe Kennedy was one of the firefighters who was going in the opposite direction. He was on a big semi-truck, pulling his firefighting bulldozer behind him, trying to bust into town and help people who had been trapped, because a lot of elderly people lived there and they weren't able to get out. So we wanted to tell the story in great detail, stories of people like Joe, people who really made a difference on that day. But we also wanted to take a step back. We cover not only what was Paradise like before, the story of Paradise is in many ways like the story of the Western U.S., the story of America, really, of how people settled in the West because it's such a beautiful place, and what are some of the unfortunate consequences of that. Some of these places are actually quite dangerous, we're finding out. We finished the book maybe 6 months to a year after the fire, and we wanted to say, look, what happens when you have a town like Paradise, which is where something really incomprehensible and unparalleled in American history, for many decades happens, where the entire town is destroyed. What happens in that situation? Is it possible for a town to come back? So that's the question that we also try to answer.
Again, the book is called Fire in Paradise, An American Tragedy. It's available right now. I have a link to it in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. Many people have dabbled in the stock market for their very first time ever this year. If you're new to the market, but you don't want to learn things the hard way and the expensive way, I encourage you to subscribe to this free newsletter. You can get the inside track with Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com. Subscribe for free. If you change your mind, just unsubscribe. Sign up for free right now at marketbeatminute.com. That's marketbeatminute.com. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, Joe?
There is an immortal jellyfish. Well, maybe I don't know if it's an immortal, but when an adult immortal jellyfish, scientifically named the Turritopus dorkney, I'm sure I nailed that.
I'm sure you did.
Can transform its cells back into this childhood state.
Oh, cool.
Usually happens when it's physically harmed, sick, or even when it's starving. The jellyfish evolves the skin in order to survive throughout history, specifically when latching onto ships. Since it can hitchhike, its DNA has spread, and the not-so-rare species is emerging all over the world. So it's a jellyfish that they say is almost immortal. Like it can regenerate and become young again. Crazy. I kind of wish, there are times I wish that I could do that. It's usually when I'm working in the yard and I stand up and go, ooh, I'm not 20 anymore.
Yeah, really.
Thanks for listening to today's Fun Fact.
Some credit cards have really high rates or big annual fees. Usually, people sign up for these when it's all they qualify for. If that sounds like you, it may be time to get a better credit card. Over time, your situation changes, and you may qualify for a better credit card. Your current card hopes you don't think about it, but our site shows you many options to see if there's a better credit card for you. Check it out for free at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
Now, a news headline from somewhere in this world, Dateline China. A newlywed couple in China filed a complaint against a local hotel there after a groom broke his arm during their bedroom fun and games.
Okay.
He tumbled off the bed and broke his left arm. The couple say the hotel had provided unsafe facilities.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
So I don't know exactly what was going on. Maybe the bed was not level. Maybe the bed was... I'm not really sure. But it's a bizarre story, and it's our news headline from somewhere in this world.
We're here to make it better.
If you find that drug or alcohol problems are hitting you too close to home, you can get help. Maybe it's time for rehab. Your insurance may even cover everything. Learn more at timeforrehab.com. Get help for a drug or alcohol problem within 24 hours.
We're here to make it better.
Get more information at timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com.
Now some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. An incident captured by a City of Miami Beach code enforcement officer's body camera shows a man so angry that he's not allowed into a grocery store without a mask. He curses out the officer. In the video, the man can be heard saying, "There is no pandemic. I'm filing a lawsuit." And then he said he has his constitutional rights are being violated. He lashes out at the grocery store's code enforcement officer and then stormed off. He says, "You are in violation of my constitutional and civil rights. There is no pandemic. I'm filing a lawsuit. I'm allowed to buy groceries." By the way, this is in Miami, where that whole city requires everyone inside the store and pharmacies and other retail businesses that are still open to wear face masks. It's one of their policies. And I know right now there are people agreeing with both sides of this, and we're certainly not here to take sides. I'm reading the story. Heidi's
I'll take
over
a
here.
side.
I know you will, but you're not going to. Just calm down. Video comes when there's many other incidents like this happening around the country. I've got a link to it in the show notes if you want to read all about it. I'm not taking a side. Thanks for listening to today's Weird News.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh, brought to you by InsuranceChicken.com. A Port Clinton, Ohio woman faces several charges after calling 911 and saying she needs help to have a fire put out in her pants. Yeah. 50-year-old Katrina Morgan called Port Clinton police 10 p.m. on a Saturday asking for the fire department because I'm not going to say exactly what she said was on fire, but you know what I'm talking about. The call, because of that, she was charged with felony disruption of public services, and she made false alarms. Says she called from her friend's home Police arrived. They told Morgan she would be arrested for making false reports and disrupting public service. She became agitated and began resisting arrest. A 911 call from the incident revealed that they asked if, she said, "Is your hose working? I need someone to come put out this fire with their hose." So she's 50. It doesn't say that she was drunk, but I'm assuming there had to be something going on. Just a bizarre story. It's today's Moment of Duh.
Do you pay too much for insurance? Have you looked around? Or are you too chicken? Don't be afraid to look around to see if you can find a better deal at InsuranceChicken.com. We make it super simple for you to see rates from several different companies, to see what they have to offer, all in one place. Peck out great insurance deals at InsuranceChicken.com. Is it time for you to cross the road? See if we can save you money each month at InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com.
Time now for fake news or Florida. Heidi, tell me, is this a true story from the great state of Florida, or is it hashtag fake news made up to trick you and amuse me? Ready for this one?
I am ready.
All right, tell me, fake news or Florida? Police in St. Johns County arrested an elderly man who tried to run over his neighbor with a tractor. Fake news or Florida?
Florida.
True story, yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me nearly as much as it should.
Sadly.
Yeah, but it's because I could see that happen so easily, where somebody gets upset, and I don't know what kind of tractor he had. I'm assuming it's like a riding lawnmower, but I don't know. Maybe it was a tractor.
Could have been a tractor.
Just a terrible thing. Don't do that. I've got a link to the story if you want to read it. It's in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. Comes your way courtesy of hashtag gift card challenge. You can find them online at giftcardchallenge.org. You ready for this good news, Heidi?
I am ready. For
New York
some
City
good news.
hospitals' entire staff surprised with free vacations for their efforts during the coronavirus pandemic. How cool is
Wow.
that? 4,000 hospital employees getting free round-trip
Wow.
tickets to the destination of their choice and a free 3-night stay in that location.
Holy cow.
American Airlines and Hyatt have teamed up to work together to show their appreciation to one of their hardest-hit hospitals. And this was something that just recently happened here. 4,000 staff, including doctors, physician assistants, nurses, facility and food service teams at NYC Health and Hospital Elmhurst. They were surprised with round-trip flights and the Hyatt hotel stays anywhere in the United States or the Caribbean. Or would you say Caribbean? How do you say it, by the way?
I say Caribbean.
Caribbean, that's how I say
Well,
it.
it depends on how I'm using the word.
Okay.
It changes for me, actually.
Well, either way, they can go to either that or anywhere in the U.S. They say,
Nice.
we're extremely grateful to Hyatt and American Airlines for this generous gift to our healthcare workers who have been at the epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic. Says here that our doctors, nurses, and other staff are on the front lines of this unprecedented healthcare crisis, and they really appreciate the outpouring of support from the two of America's major companies. We look forward to taking advantage of these well-earned vacations in the near future. So I wonder how that works, because they can't all go on vacation at the same time, but it's really cool that they're going to get to go do this. So I've got a link to that in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.